Hey guys, we are on a journey together, and I'm creating different programs like the Positive Challenger, and it revolves a lot around the things that I see relevant for us as human beings, as leaders. And I want to really inspire you guys because every day is an opportunity to grow. Every day is an opportunity to strive together. And, in our lives, I feel that many of us are too caught up in the daily grind, daily hustle, so they don't think about the next 10 years. And if you can, whenever you watch this during the week, in the evening, or during the weekend is ideal because then you can take maybe a bit more time to think about how can you design your life today so that it's even better in 10 years. So, a good exercise is to write down 100 goals you want to achieve in 10 years. And maybe that might be, tiny objectives to really chunky goals. But I'm currently going through the exercise myself, and it's quite inspiring because it reminds me that life is lived in years and decades, not days. Of course, every day is super valuable, and you got to focus every day a little bit on what matters, which is what am I doing today that contributes to my future. And one thing that will contribute to your future is build sales skills, build a dominance in influencing people. This is a great book from Jeb Blount. He wrote another book, Fanatical Prospecting. And this is really about how ultra high performers leverage sales specific emotional intelligence to close the complex deal. Maybe you're not in sales, maybe not marketing, maybe you are somewhere in tech operations or a mix. But regardless of the rank and industry you're in, you might need to learn to sell, to influence people at home, wherever you're at. And, there are these things that I want to talk to you about today, what I believe are predictors if we make it. And I started with the bonus, really. And it helps a lot when you learn how to navigate this landscape, how to navigate, how to influence people. So, let me give you these four things that I believe are important, in my opinion, that can predict if someone gonna make it in the future or not. And I was born in Eastern Europe, humble background, poor to middle class family, and in a depressed town. It was really hard for me to pick myself up as a kid and to think more positively about my future. I tried, and I would say when I look at it where I am today, it's inspiring because I would say I faked it until I made it, and I tried now to really live authentically. But when I'm looking at these four pillars that I want to share with you guys, if you are maybe thinking about your own life, or if you're thinking about, somebody and they want to go to the next stage, or, like just like I said, if you want your life to be better in 10 years, these four things might really help you to get there. So the first one is about, you know, before we go there, I just want to say one more thing. I believe that in our life, there are predictors that can help. And again, this is not an exhaustive list that I will share with you, but it's important to set the foundation for ourselves. And maybe, when you hear this, you're like, oh, this is straightforward. I'm already doing it. So ask yourself, what other things can contribute for you to have and go to the better future and attain it, attract it, build it. So the first one is, as I call, the ambitious hero. It's somebody that, when I think about my childhood, it's thinking about how can I stretch myself? How can I build better life for myself? How can I, look around and say, okay, this is what I have is not sufficient to take me to the future. So I started already the story where I grew up. Think about your story. Where did you grow up? Study your parents, study your grandparents, and you might want, generally navigate in the landscape where they navigated. And that might be the trap that also happened to me. And I could easily stay in Eastern Europe and just live the life as I got it. But I crave more. And this desire is in all of us to crave more, be more, share more, create more, add more value, as Tony Robbins says. So again, it depends on many factors, what type of parents you have, right? And what behavior you modeled from them, whether they wanted you to be, whether they were super successful or, not successful. But even if the parents were not the most inspiring people, there are books, there are resources, there's video like this that can build your ambition. So start building your ambition today. Start dreaming. Write down the 100, list of potential goals that you want to achieve in 10 years, and the ideal company you want to work for, the ideal job title, the money, the finances, the health, the relationships, the type of person you are. I think this is what really matters. The second part is about self-esteem. When I'm thinking about my self-esteem, 20 years ago, it's definitely not what it was today. I don't say, I'm super confident and always achieve everything, but where I was before, and often our self-esteem is very tied to, what we saw and how we acted and how we operated in the environment we knew. But if you want to go into a new environment, you might need to improve your confidence. You might need to improve the way you talk to people, the way you think about opportunities, the way you market yourself, the way you put yourself out there. And generally, if you have a lower self-esteem, just like I had, you don't feel good about yourself. You generally feel, lonely. You want to spend time with yourself. But if you think about life and if you think about how you want your life to be, don't waste any moments anymore. Think again about people that have done what you couldn't do or haven't done yet. And there is a perfect time for you. There is a perfect place and opportunity for you to get where you want to go, but you got to start preparing now. And it starts again going back to sales, influence, watching YouTube videos, and feeding yourself with stuff that's inspiring. I know it sounds really counterintuitive, but this has been my secret weapon for the last, 2 decades, because I've read, the books from Tony Robbins. I listened to Brandon Burchard. I studied, personal development just because I felt this is exactly what is the secret weapon. Mental health, all these things stack up when you do them correctly. They will kind of build on the top of each other like bricks. So if you want to really going back to the self-esteem, build better self-esteem and feel better about yourself, it starts with your perception. Try to climb higher on the tree and look around, because sometimes we don't see anymore the trees through the forest just because the environment we are operating at. So try to get higher perspective, talk to people, get a coach. Don't beat yourself up. Stop that. That's something I've been very good at. I'm still good at sometimes, but I became way better over the years to slow down and say, man, am I too hard on myself here? It's okay to be hard on yourself, but don't beat yourself down constantly. It doesn't add value. It slows you down and it reduces your mental capacity and the ability to feel authentic and act authentically. You will act from the fight or flight mode, so from the amygdala part of the brain, and making sure that you will not want to learn from mistakes. You will try to do and follow the same path. So I hope that's clear. Let us go to the third one. You see, it's building on top of each other. The third one is competent achiever. This has to do a lot with skills. So again, going back to when I was in Eastern Europe, I wanted to move abroad. I needed to think, okay, what do I need to do? I needed to learn a language. I was already working on that prior going to abroad, and that kind of what catapulted me actually to move abroad. So when you have an ambition like I had back then, big enough to move abroad, study abroad, make international friends, improve my language skills, and overall my independence as a human being. Again, this is a humble example, but you can always add something to your toolbox, improving your confidence even further, study athletes. So you can go to win your own gold medals years and years down the line. Remember, not everybody will want to do this because there's a lot of hard work in this, whatever the goal. And this is what also I try to preach, not really preach, but just share with you throughout these videos and training. Things take time and things are harder than you think, and you will lose patience. You will lose really your composure sometimes. You will get short tempered, you will lose some friends, and that's where you need to really go back to what is it that you want to leave on this planet Earth. And it will change again, but I think building something bigger than yourself and trying to stretch yourself to be a hero in your industry or compete in something, and even if you don't end up first, even if you don't go for a gold medal, you are the competent achiever and you see yourself as an athlete every day who gets stuff done, and you get stuff done beyond when people are looking. You get stuff done beyond the extra mile, because there is no traffic beyond the extra mile, is there? So watching this video shows, again, I want to pat you on the shoulder, give you a high five, because it shows that you're dedicated. And like you, I have to set myself up every time and say, okay, this is what I care about. I care about the message. I care about you, listener, learner. And hopefully we meet one day, maybe we know each other already, and it inspires you to build better habits, to build better skills. And you realize that, just like marathon, halfway through, your knees will want to pop up, your feet will burn, and it will be hard, but it's okay. As Brandon Burchard says, honor the struggle. And I really learned this the hard way through when I was competing. When you do fitness, it's all the time, in the hurt box, because that's how you build muscles. So don't be afraid, don't be scared of that. Learn new things, and remember, give yourself time. And that's why I think it's super inspiring to think 10 years down the line, because this is just like building your sales, EQ, emotional quotient. You will become better human being, and that's what it counts. Whatever you achieve, again, if we forget and strip it all down, all of this is a fancy stuff, right? But if you wake up every morning and you feel like a millionaire, you're a millionaire. Maybe you don't have money on the bank account, but even if you have, it doesn't make you better. But that's why being a minimalist and going for things that really you care about and just pouring your heart and soul into it, that's what matters. And that leads me to the last point that I want to share with you guys is I want you to become a leader with a heart. And I believe this is the fourth one that concludes whether someone will make it or not. You can do all the three, but if you not really focus on being empathetic and building a legend character and behemoth heart, you will fail. I've seen it with myself, throughout my earlier career, where I tried to, build myself up, climb the corporate ladder, and I did it as I knew best. I tried to, cut corners and do everything for the quick buck. But it, again, because I knew that's the only way back then, you teach. When you talk to others, you teach the principles, but you learn as well through your journey. So now I'm, super humbled and honored that I can talk to you about, the mistakes I've made, and I'm trying to use this as a stepping stone to improve my life, to explore new territories and build my legend character, right? And ultimately, if I am, an honorable person, good human being, it makes this world a better place. So I just want to remind you that there is never a good time to start to do this. There is never a right time to start thinking about where you want to be, who you want to be, how you want to build yourself up. It sounds like a tedious work, but sometimes, it is exactly moments like this when you remember, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and I am getting better. and I'm getting better not alone but with others. And that means you're going to be more humble, using your own heart to serve this world, your own skills. So I hope this inspired you. It gave you a little bit of hope. Again, this is not to preach, what is out there. And I'm using these four predictors because I'm looking at my life and people that I know have seen succeed. It has to do a lot really with the ambitious hero, with the, your own self-esteem and how you kind of overcome that, your confidence, learning skills, being a competent achiever, and then in the end, leader with a heart. Build tribe around you, lead team with passion and compassion, with kindness, criticize in private, reward in public, or praise in public. So I hope that really inspired you, gave you hope. Stay awesome, stay humble, and until the next time, my friends.